Hello. So today, as readers, we are going to talk about how problems and solutions will help lead us to theme. So if you're not quite sure what theme is, don't stress. We're going to get to that later in the week, but let's start out by talking about problems and solutions. Now, we talked about problems and solutions last week as writers. This week, we're going to start off by looking at them like readers, and hopefully this will also help you come up with new problems and solutions for your writing. It's kind of a back and forth. The writing helps the reading, and the reading helps the writing. All right. So when we think about the problems, the big idea that I want you to know is that the problems, sometimes they're called conflicts, those both mean the same word, those are really the heart of the story. When you really get down to any story, it's really about the problem. Take Hatchet, for example. We've got all this stuff about Brian, and he's got the secret, and he's trying to make fire, and he's doing all this stuff. But deep down, the story is really about Brian's problem of being trapped in the woods. That's really the heart of the story. You might notice that every chapter has its own mini problem. There was the chapter about the porcupine getting him. That was a mini problem. There was a chapter about he was so hungry, and that was the mini problem. And there was a chapter about when he got really sick from the gut cherries. Those were all little mini problems. But the heart of the story is in all those problems. There's the heart of each chapter, and then the heart of the story overall with the problem of Brian being trapped in the woods. So the real question is sometimes students ask me, how do I know when there's a problem? How can I find that problem? Because sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's very in your face, and sometimes it's kind of hidden. So my advice to you is to use this strategy. We're going to pay attention to how characters react, and how they think. So how they react, meaning like what do they do, and how they think when they tell you what they're thinking. So this one I started with, I love this. It's from one of my favorite stories. It's called Thunder Boy Jr. And in this story, the boy doesn't like his name. And in the story, Sherman Alexie, the author, said, people call him Big Thunder. That nickname is a storm filling up the sky. People call me Little Thunder. That nickname makes me sound like a burp or a fart. Can you hear how he says what he's thinking? He's thinking, well, Big Thunder sounds like a big storm, and Little Thunder sounds like a burp or a fart. He's showing us his thinking. I can tell that's a problem because he's unhappy. People are often unhappy when there's a problem. Here's another one. This is from My Name is Yoon by Helen Rakovitz. It's about a girl who is going to school and she speaks another language, and in her language her name looks beautiful, and in English it doesn't. And she's struggling with who she is in an English-speaking school. Soon you will go to your new school. You must learn to print your name in English, he said. Here, this is how it looks. Yoon. I wrinkled my nose. I did not like Yoon. Lines, circles, each standing alone. Think about how the character reacted. She wrinkled her nose. You can almost just picture her. She's just not happy. And then she tells us, what is she thinking? I did not like Yoon. She tells us. So if we look for how characters act, and if they share their thinking, that's how we are going to find out when we have discovered a problem. Here's the last one. This is from a book I just finished reading with my own kids at home. If you are a kid who likes to read books that have other languages incorporated or other cultures, we love this one. It's called How Tia Lola Learned to Teach. So Tia Lola is their aunt, and she's come from the Dominican Republic to stay with them. And she's trying to figure out what the principal wants from her. Mommy shakes her head. No, 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 Tia Lola. What Senora Stevens wants you to do is to teach the children some Spanish. Tia Lola's mouth drops open, but no words, Spanish or English, come out of it. Think about how she reacted. The mom says, no, this is what we're doing. And Tia Lola's her mouth drops open. That's a shocked, oh no expression. And no words come out of it. You can tell she's upset. She's surprised. We've found the problem. She doesn't want to have to go teach Spanish. All right. And if you are interested, I have that book in our class library if you'd like to borrow it. So when you have found that the character is upset, then you have found a problem. So different types of characters can have different problems. So let's look at a couple examples of problems so you know what kind of things to be on the lookout for. And just like when we talked about character traits, remember how we describe a character? Just like the traits or the characteristics, a character's problems can be internal, meaning on the inside they have a problem with their self or a problem with their what's going on and they're just thinking about it. Or it can be external. It can be like a conflict between two people. So, like if you have a bully situation, or some of you are writing in your stories about characters who damaged other people's stuff. That would be a external. The character has a problem with somebody else. But if you have just a problem with what your own thinking is or you're upset, that's an internal problem. All right, so let's learn a little bit more about external problems. With external problems, we ask, is the character in conflict with another person? If you look at these two birds over here, this is an external problem. They are fighting with each other. Does the character want something that they're struggling to get? Or has something been taken away from the character? When the character is having a problem with something outside of themselves, we call that an external problem. And then you could have an internal problem. It's in your head. Does the character feel bad about themselves? So, like hurtful feelings? Is the character worried about something? Is the character, ooh, I can't even see those. Is the character hurting? So, if the character's problem is all on the inside with their feelings, then it's an internal problem. If the character is frustrated about something that's happening outside of themselves, that's an external problem. And then I also challenge you, think about all the characters. There might be multiple problems. Most stories have more than one problem, especially if you're reading a novel. All right, in a few minutes, I'm going to show you one of my very favorite Pixar shorts. It's called Lou. As you watch Lou, be on the lookout for problems. Remember, your clues to problems are upset reactions. If somebody's upset, there's a problem. And then ask yourself, what are the internal problems? Where is a character upset? Where are they just things are in their feelings? And what are the external problems? Where are the conflicts between people? This is what we are going to be on the lookout for today. I hope you enjoy Lou.